Greetings everyone. So we're going to cover what's in the tech news on this episode of Chard the podcast. Okay, so welcome to this episode of Chard the podcast. So there's an article that I ran into that's saying that you can now guess what you want before you even ask. So there's some engineers at Amazon trying to tweak to help the voice assistant kind of guess your request before you even ask it. So to give an example, for instance, if you ask how long does it take for a cup of tea to brew, then before you even ask, she will recommend a timer for you to set the amount of minutes that it's going to take to brew that tea. So it'll be things like that that depend on what you asked her previously. She's going to come up with a recommended suggestion to follow that request that you asked previous, which will reduce the time that you keep on asking her for additional commands or questions or anything like that. So now she's going to be more conversational, which is what Amazon is trying to work towards anyway. They're trying to make it to where your voice assistant is like talking to another person. Now what's amazing is how this technology is actually coming to fruition. Making a voice assistant able to understand and recognize, and also trying to figure out what mood you're in. So these are all the things that Amazon is working on, trying to make your voice assistant more human-like. Now, will we come to that day when it's almost like Jarvis in Iron Man, for instance? Probably, maybe. It's going to take some time, but I can see it heading down that road. Another thing that I noticed that's going on in the tech industry is everybody's trying to move away from third-party chip manufacturers. Apple, for instance, is moving away from the Intel designed chips to their own custom chips for all their devices. Their latest chip is the M1, which is for the Mac computers, but they already have one for the iPhone and the iPad. Amazon is the latest one that announced that they're trying to move from the chips that's designed by NVIDIA, which is in most of their smart assistant devices, to their own custom chips. The second generation Echo Show had an Intel chip built in. So in future devices, Amazon is going to have their own custom designed chip. So one of Amazon's main reasons to go to their own custom chip is to speed up the process of the Amazon voice assistant and probably to reduce costs because they don't have to rely on a third-party manufacturer to build their chips to put in their devices. Because that's the information we got from Apple, that they designed their chip to be much faster than the third-party manufacturer. And it was probably a cost saving too. Although we didn't see that cost saving, but at least that didn't increase the price of their product. Pretty much start the same, some less. So we'll see what happens next year when Amazon really start rolling out this new processor in the future devices. And back to the custom chip that Apple released, which is the M1 chip. Now, right now they have it in their laptops and the Mac Mini. So we have the iMac and the Mac Pro still waiting to get their chips, which we probably don't see those devices until next year sometime, late next year, probably in the summertime. Now, I'm hoping that Apple is working on an M Pro chip for those systems, so we can get more memory than what's being offered right now. 8 and 16 is fine, but we got some power users out there that want 32 and 64 RAM built into those chips, or have it as a separate module so it interacts with the chip and we can expand the memory if we need to. Because for me as a power user, I see that's like a limitation right now, that you have the memory built into the chip and you can't upgrade or add more memory into the system, because some software require more memory to perform at its optimal level. And if you're only stuck with 8 gigabytes and 16 gigabytes, the system is already using some of that memory, so you're going to need the extra just to drive that app. And I like to go to the max amount of memory I can as possible in the systems I own. So I'm hoping that Apple at least give those systems, the iMac and the Mac Pro, the ability to add additional memory instead of just having them built in on the chip and you can't add additional memory. And like I said, I would like to see M1 Pro chip instead of a regular M1 chip in those systems. Now, I don't really talk about politics and stuff like that on this channel, but with the new presidency, the new Biden administration, under Trump, a lot of restriction came up as far as TikTok, Huawei, and some other companies too, dealing with China. So I'm wondering, now that there's a new administration, will some of these bans ease up? Will we see Huawei working with companies that they got banned from working with? And with other things that was banned and restricted, will they have an ease up? Will a lot of American companies that used to work with China companies, will that restriction ease up too? These things we just have to wait and see. But I would like to see a company like, for instance, Huawei get back into the mobile game in the US, because I really like their phones. And I know a lot of users out there that probably like using their phones also. But that's something to think about now that we have a new administration. You know, now that it's the holiday shopping season, and we usually do Black Friday right after Thanksgiving here in the US. And then the following Monday is Cyber Monday. But we already know it's not going to be the same this year because of the pandemic. Stores are already doing their tech sale online. Not really tech sale, but shopping online. So you're not going to the store anymore. Sony and Xbox launched their stuff where you have to order it online and then go pick it up in the store or have it shipped to you. So it seems like gone are the days when you used to stand in line for days and camp out to get a new system or that new toy. And since Cyber Monday is always online anyway, that's not going to be affected. Black Friday shoppers will probably see that difference because, you know, they want to fight for the latest TV, the latest game system, or whatever high-tech devices is out there. But that thrill of the hunt didn't happen this year, and even next year, it's not going to happen either, because by then, this excitement over these new systems is going to die down. And if we get back to normal or some type of normality, then it's just going to be a normal shopping season. But if the pandemic wasn't around, there would be some fight over some PlayStation 5 and the new Xbox system. And speaking of these systems, if you hadn't had the chance to actually grab one while they were having that sale bliss, I personally tried myself, but I got neither system. Don't forget that there's still the Nintendo Switch out there that you can pick up if you don't have that system already. Seemed like a small consolation prize, but at least if you really want a gaming system, the Nintendo Switch is available. Don't forget you also have the Oculus Quest 2 available if you want to just go to VR world. And if you had a chance to get into the early access of the Amazon Lunar gaming system, cloud gaming system that is, that's also an option if you hadn't had a chance to get the new Xbox and the PlayStation 5. And my last topic for this episode is about 5G. Now 5G is going to be the wave of the future. It's faster network, it's going to make your phone run faster, but it's also going to be in other things. 5G is going to make it easier for you to update the software in those electric car, for instance, and download maps and all those other things that you usually download. But sometimes you would need an SD card or a flash drive just to update the maps in your car. But 5G is going to make all of that stuff much easier and much faster to get done in your car versus the slower way it's being done now. Now, all the phone companies, T-Mobile, Verizon, AT&T, and all those other phone networks is really trying to boost this 5G thing for your cell phone. Now, if you decide you want to actually buy a phone that's 5G capable, you got to make sure the 5G is available in your area. So that's the first thing you want to do, is to check to make sure you can get 5G in your area before you plunk down the cash for the new 5G capable phone. And each of those networks website does have some type of map, or you can punch in your zip code to know if it's available in your area. Because the phone might be sold in your area, but if the network is not upgraded to where you can take advantage of it, well, you're not going to see the benefit. You're just going to see the regular LTE or 4G network depending on what you have in your area. So do your homework before you actually shop for that new 5G phone. But 5G will eventually be available pretty much anywhere you go in the future. Right now, they're still building out the network. So if it's not in your area, I would wait instead of buying a phone thinking that you're future-proofing yourself by getting the phone now. Because by the time it is available in your area, there will be a newer, better phone available on the market at that time. Another area where I can see 5G might be beneficial is providing internet service. Now, there's still some parts of America and the world where you're not receiving internet via the cable, which include coax and fiber. But a lot of these areas receive 4G and LTE cellular network. So with an upgrade to the 5G network, they can actually receive high-speed internet in those areas, because these same areas are receiving internet via satellite right now. So 5G is a good thing for the future, even though you probably heard some stories about it that it's not a good thing it causes all kind of different problems, but it's just the next generation of wireless network. It's going to take a while to get more widespread, but that's the same thing happened with 4G and LTE. Okay, so that's going to be it for this episode of Chard the podcast. Thanks for watching. Have a good one, and I'll see you next time.